And now for our What in the World segment. What got my attention this week was a speech and an article by Senator John McCain. In case you were wondering how a McCain foreign policy would be different from President Obama's, here it is. John McCain would have helped overthrow the government of Iran last year.
If the president were to unleash America's full moral power to support the Iranian people, if he were to make their quest for democracy the civil rights struggle of our time, it could bolster their will to endure in their struggle, and the result could be historic.
This has become a mantra among neoconservatives these days. If only Barack Obama had given a few more speeches that supported the Green Movement, the regime in Tehran would have collapsed. But this is foreign policy as fantasy. I see no evidence that the Iranian regime could have been toppled a year ago, nor have I seen any to suggest it can be toppled today or anytime soon. The regime has many opponents, but also many supporters in the country. President Ahmadinejad had the support of millions of people before the election. A 2009 telephone poll of Iranians by two American think tanks found Ahmadinejad leading Mousavi by more than 2-1. Now, any polling in Iran is suspect, but these results are confirmed by many shrewd observers of Iran. Once you get out of the cities into rural areas, among the poor, the devout, Ahmadinejad continues to have a following, and he plays to the religious and nationalistic feelings of many Iranians. The supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is also widely respected. Maziar Bahari, the Newsweek reporter who was jailed by the Iranian government for 4 months on trumped-up charges, says that Khamenei is certainly the most popular political figure in Iran. I imagine Senator McCain, like many others, sees the situation in Iran as analogous to Eastern Europe in 1989. Back then, we saw bad regimes crumble with what often looked like very little effort. But I don't think the analogy holds. Those dissenters 20 years ago had 3 things on their side in Eastern Europe. Nationalism, because communism was imposed by the Soviet Union, democracy, and religion, because communism forbade religion. I would argue that the Green Revolution only has one of those 3 clearly on its side, democracy. The regime can use religion and nationalism just as easily as the protesters can. McCain simply does not seem to understand the regime he wants to overthrow.
Is it any wonder that this is the same regime that spends its people's precious resources not on roads or schools or hospitals or jobs that benefit all Iranians, but on funding violent groups of foreign extremists who murder the innocent?
In fact, the Iranian government spends vast amounts of money on subsidies for the poor and lower middle classes, their base of support. Iran has high literacy, decent healthcare, and many social programs. The economy is a mess, but its defense budget is not staggering. It's about $8 billion. America's, by the way, is about $660 billion. Look, the Iranian regime is very repressive at home and up to no good abroad. I do not like this regime at all. The U.S. State Department has called Iran the world's most active state sponsor of terrorism, and that is an accurate description of the regime's activities in the region. But I think much of Senator McCain's rhetoric plays into what is a kind of recurring American fantasy, that all good things always go together and all bad things go together, that men like Ahmadinejad are evil, also have no legitimacy, are also unpopular, and preside over a fragile regime about to collapse. By the way, if we do want to try and help the Green Movement, and we want to try and undermine this government, the most important policy choice we could make would be to not listen to Senator McCain's many suggestions that we should bomb the country.
That old Beach Boys song, Bomb Iran, bomb, 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 bomb. Anyway.
Now, John McCain was joking when he said that, but he has on many occasions seriously suggested that bombing Iran might be the only way to stop its nuclear program. Now, if you want to find a sure way to have the country rally around the regime, if you want to destroy the Green Movement, if you want to give Ahmadinejad lots of international sympathy and support, what we should do is bomb Iran.
No apologies, though, for a musical parody that many around the world took as a true sign of his thinking.
Bomb Iran, bomb, 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 bomb. Anyway.
When veterans are together, veterans joke. And I was with veterans and we were joking. And if somebody can't understand that, my answer is please get a life.
It's not about justice, it's not about agenda, it's not about mobilizing people, it's about dialing for corporate dollars. These two parties have sold the U.S. government and the American people to the highest bidders.
The United States of America is a terrorist base of operations.